Welcome to this media availability edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. 9 days ahead of opening day at the beach, Indiana baseball head coach Jeff Mercer took questions from the media, covering topics like roster construction, the competition for first base, high expectations, and facing left-handed pitching.
Coach, you saw your opening roster as 43 listed online, but obviously you're dealing with some issues. Do you have any guys that are planning on taking medical red shirts this year?
Yeah, Bonnert and Bakes, as of right now, will take medicals. I don't foresee Sonora being able to throw either, so you probably look at those three guys as guys that won't be able to play this year. But yeah, we're dealing with some injuries. It's every now and then you have a year where you're just a little bit. There's injuries every year. Last year we've lost. Holderfield missed the whole year, and Shepard missed the whole year, and Ellis missed 3/4 of the year. And so guys stepped up around. And this year's been probably maybe a little bit heavier on some of those things, and maybe in years past it's just kind of the way it goes. So those guys are coming back now, so it's not necessarily as many guys are going to miss as guys coming off of injuries, and so are still a few weeks behind. So, but that's the importance of having roster depth and making sure you prepare everybody for what comes, and we'll be fine. We're going to have to play our way through it, and there's a lot of good players that can step up and get ready to play. But as with everybody, the first couple of weeks, you'll see what you guys go play, and then we'll move the pieces as we need to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the best position to be successful. But maybe a little bit different, but not terribly. And so we'll get there when we get there.
We were just talking to Burke about his combination with Cerny in the infield. I guess, what's been your evaluation of Burke's play so far?
Just a really steady defender, really heady and steady, and capable of keeping the ball moving. Right, just advance the game. And I think if you have a mentality of everyone doing their job, to where nobody needs to shoulder the load more than anyone else or unnecessarily, I think it takes a lot of pressure off of anybody to be able to have to feel the weight of doing more than their fair share. So, same thing with him. Be a really steady defender, be a heady guy, under control, play great defense, be a dutiful offensive player, bring some aspects to base running and base stealing that we would like to be able to do when situations call for it, and just be a really good cog in the wheel. And then with Tyler, like I've said, I've just been very impressed with just his professionalism and sliding over to a new position. If a shortstop makes the routine play routinely, turns double plays, and executes cuts and relays, and if you run like a crash or a wheel on a bump play, if he does those things, you're further ahead than most programs, right? Because that guy's going to handle the ball so much more. If you get anything beyond that, then you're in bonus territory. Now Tyler has the physical ability to go and do things beyond the routine play. He's got the physical ability to make some splash plays. But what I've been really impressed with him is he hasn't leaned on that. Sometimes guys will, especially young guys that are making that transition, everybody wants to make the great play, get out of their funnel, and then as a coach, you worry about the ball right out of guy. And Tyler hasn't done that. He's been very fundamental, very dutiful. His throws have been really good. His footwork's been really good. I just can't say enough good things about the way that he's prepared himself, and that's what you ask of everybody in practice. You tell the guys, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm at every practice. Then you watch practice, and the guys that are dutiful and steady and make the routine play, those are the guys that go out and play in the games. And then you watch the games and see how they transpire, and then you go and you keep those guys in the lineup, or you make an adjustment from there. But Tyler has done everything we've asked. And above. So I've been really pleased with both those guys.
Saw you working again with the first baseman after practice. I guess from a coaching perspective, what's it kind of like to watch a 4-player battle 10 days away from the season, as opposed to one guy knowing that they're the top guy?
Yeah, every year I slide 5, 6, 7 guys to first base, and then we whittle it down. I was joking. I was called the first base crew, first base, whoever's in that crew today, and Cerny said, he said today, I remember when I was in that crew last year, and Cerny was in the first base crew last year before he ended up winning the second base job. So you always start with 5 or 7 guys because you don't know how injuries happen and the season works out, and it's a position that is very, very important defensively. I think it's an underutilized position as far as the development goes. And then a lot of times if you can have a great defender from a group of guys that are all offensive, it really allows you to mix and match. Right now you can play right-handed, you can play left-handed, you can pinch hit, you can get guys, you can start guys at different positions and move them out there. Maybe you want to, if Tippett's were to start at catcher and you want someone else then to finish the game behind the plate, or there's an injury at first base and you want to move them out. But you've got to have flexibility, and the only way to do that is to start with as big of a group as you can, coach all of them to the best of your abilities, and then whittle it down. And the reality is that group has had injuries, that group of 4, 5, 6 guys. So we didn't have, Joey B missed 3 months. Broke his hand in the Notre Dame game, so he missed all that time. Stadler dealt with the hamstring deal and some throwing stuff with his arm, so he missed some time. Shepard coming off the surgery, so he missed time. And Sefcik missed the whole fall with the surgery and a hip injury. So, those guys were working our way through it to get them ready to go. And so we always start with a big group and work your way down, which is typical. And then usually there's that kind of battle at some position somewhere. This year it's just at first base longer than normal, probably, just because Brock has the ability to go back and catch. And then we have to also be intelligent with AJ with his arm. So he's a great catcher, but he's not going to be able to rip balls to second base from day one, or a lot of them when he gets back there. So how do we get his bat in the lineup? If he's the guy that ends up being the best offensive player of the group, well, he's a really good defender at first base that keeps DH open and keeps some options open. And those other guys have gotten better as well. Joey B is just a world better than he was a month ago. Well, when you can't put a glove on for 3 months, you're going to get better pretty quick when you're able to do it every day. So it's not where you start, it's where you end. And we just got to keep coaching. We got to keep getting better. And I'm really pleased. I told the guys at the end, and I genuinely mean it, I was really proud of them. They've just gotten so much better in the last month or 6 weeks. And I told them we'll be better in 1 week, and then we'll be better a week after that. We'll see where it goes. But they've gotten a lot better, and they can all really hit, which is a nice problem to have as a coach.
To kind of follow up on that, I guess just kind of what are the interactions that you see amongst the 4 players, with all of them battling at the same time?
Yeah, AJ's been over there longer just because he had, we were trying to get him ready to play first base last year because he had Tommy John in high school. So they communicate well. They're trying to help each other. AJ will kind of stop the group and be very, it's always nice if you have an instructor over there that does it in the middle of it, so I don't have to go across the field. And Brock did that for the first half of the year. So Brock was with the first baseman a ton in their indie work in the fall, so he could kind of help teach them. And then AJ got to where he could get out there more and more, and now AJ's kind of taking that lead role of instruction as well. So they're good teammates. They're all really good kids. I mean, we're really fortunate. We don't have selfish guys or greedy guys, and everybody wants to play. If I had eligibility, I would want to get out there and play. But and I hope that they know that when you write your lineup the first day, the lineup is typically different a week in than it is day one, and it's certainly different at the end of the season. So they're all competing, but if Indiana wins, then that means some of that group is succeeding, and they're going to have a chance to compete their way into the lineup throughout the course of the year. So they've been very helpful and encouraging to each other.
Speaking of the group, you guys have been here a while, obviously. This is the highest expectations this group has had.
Yeah.
And I know you're into a lot of the micro stuff, and we watch it, but macro-wise, what's your pulse of the team with, the headlines and expectations? I don't feel like we've seen you guys with expectations like this since your crew got here.
Yeah. I think, and I'm so programmed, and I don't mean to be terrible to talk to about it, but I try really hard to keep them away from the guys, and a lot of the guys have been here so long that they're hopefully pretty head down. They seem that way. I feel like my job and my role is to keep their head down. I don't know. I don't have an expectation of what it should or it shouldn't be, and I know that's terrible, but. We're just not good enough today. That's all I know. Like, we're not good enough today, and we have to get a lot better in a lot of different areas. And so, where we could be at the end of the season, I'm not naive to the ability that we have, but we're not there today. And so we have to get better, and we have to get better defensively. We have to get better offensively. We have to get more depth on the mound. We just have to have. We're just not where we need to be at yet. It doesn't mean that we're bad. It just means like we're not the team that we want to be yet. So with expectation comes responsibility to do your best to be able to provide the team that level of instruction to where they have to go, and to also shield them from feeling like you're going to get there in the next 5 minutes. And so Coach Simmons is from the South, and so he always talk about, he was in Alabama there for a little bit, so he always talks about Nick Saban would say it was rat poison, right? Expectation and preseason, all those things are rat poison, and try to keep it out. So, I would say probably like that. I'm not trying to steal it, but that's what Coach Simmons always says. And
steal it from him probably is not a bad idea.
no, it's not. No. I would say probably not a bad thing. But it doesn't. I don't feel that in the group. There's sometimes
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's probably. I don't feel that in the group. They don't feel pressured. They don't feel. It doesn't feel like they are concerned about living up to that today. Now, I think they feel a great sense of responsibility to be the best that they can be at some point in the season and to grow into that. And as we all do, everyone's worked very hard, and we are talented. And there's a lot of guys on the majority of this team could have gone anywhere in the country they wanted to go to play baseball. That's a reality. And so when you have a bunch of talented guys that have all chose to do something together, they want to do something special. They believed in it years ago. They believed in that vision, and then you go through the hard stuff. You want to go and try to have the reward, but life doesn't always go according to plan, and you have to will it into existence. You have to work it into existence, and it's a hard hat, lunch pail kind of thing to get where you want to get, and so that's what they're doing. That's what we're trying to do. I think that's why, I feel better today than I did this past weekend. Right, we played better today. We turned double plays. We were on the barrel where we needed to. We took care of the ball. We were sharp as a position player group. We were better today than we were on Sunday. And so let's be better Friday than we were today. And I know it's a terrible answer, but
you're going to be facing some pretty elite left-handed pitching in this first week.
Yeah.
How is your very left-handed heavy lineup going to deal with that?
We've done a ton of situational stuff. We've done a ton of spin ball, probably twice as much left-handed setups as right-handed, to where you eliminate the not fear, but left-handed hitters are as they're raised to be uncomfortable versus lefties. I think it's a misnomer. I don't think it's as big of a deal as sometimes we believe it is, and so you just have to throw them into the environment until they're comfortable with it. And if you think back to Matt Lloyd, I think one of the things when he was debating what he was going to do when I first got in, if he was going to stay or not, was he had a huge discrepancy versus left-handed pitching, and talked about we just have to throw you into the deep end. And we did. We threw him into the deep end against lefties. I think he hit better against lefties that year than righties. And so we can do the same thing. You're not going to do it in any other way besides that environment. We've tried to. It's always a hard thing now. Is if your lefties face lefties, your left-handed pitchers are going to face your left-handed hitters. There's also the risk you're going to get hit, and so you have to try to balance that out. But if you don't put them in that environment, then you don't prepare them. And so that's what we've talked a ton about is how do we prepare these guys to face left-handed pitching? Because if I was facing us, that's what I would do. And so we're going to be prepared for it. And I'm going to have to be intelligent in how we construct the lineup. We also you can't stack guys where you're just lining guys up for a clean run. Lefties a lot of times they're not as good at going left right on the lineup. Their visuals are, they have a visual and they want to pitch off of that. And they want to have a runway, right? They want to face two lefties out of 3 hitters, and they can use their same visual marks. So, can you stack your lineup to where you're making them have to change their visual consistently, and you're hoping for a mistake, right? You're hoping for a hit by pitch, a single, and then all of a sudden he hangs a breaking ball to Carter, and you change the game. So we have to be intelligent in how we prepare them, which we're doing a ton of trying to really prepare them. And then you have to build construct your lineup to where you're trying to hunt mistakes, and and start runners in their face and do different things to again, if we're facing elite, these are high end, some of the best left-handed pitching in the country, and so it's typically not, you know, four walks, 9 hits, you know, you're beating the guy around. That's not how it goes. It's a walk, it's a single, and you start the runners and you find a hole, or you hit a ball in the gap, and it's a big inning, and then you have to play defense through it. So we've done a ton to try to prepare those guys. I think we're in a good place. But we won't know until we roll them out.
The Hoosiers face number 12 Duke a week from Friday at Coastal Carolina at 11 a.m. See you at the beach.